Hi friends, today I'm going to do a quick background using Ranger Distress Oxides in Faded Jeans. Just going to rub some circles around this page I've prepped. It's an old book that I've made into an art journal, and I prep each page with some white acrylic paint. I'm also going to add the Distress Oxide in peeled paint. It is just a really yummy green. I like this a lot. So again, just using some circles, covering up the page, smooshing it around, just getting a lot of color on there. And yeah, I think I'll add a little bit more of the blue because when I use the stencils on this technique, the darker the inks, the better. So now I'm going to lay this honeycomb stencil on. I wish I could tell you what stencil it is, but it's super old, as you can tell. I'm going to give it a good spray with some water and lift it up and flip it and take that wet side and press it against the ink. I'll wet it again, put the wet side down, press it, and it makes the impressions of the honeycomb. I'll come back up here, I'll spray it a little bit more. And then I'm going to turn the book and let it drip. I love drips. Drips are good for you. But do you see how the honeycomb stencil starts standing out? That's really good. I'm just going to press it in a little bit more here and there. And then I'm going to go dry it. All right, now that it's dry, I'm going to add some acrylic paint in white. This is a pretty fluid white paint. So I apply it directly to the stencil. I turn it over, I match up the honeycomb stencils, and I press it in and lift it up. Do this in some different places just to accentuate the honeycomb. Might rub it in a couple places just to give some dimension to the ink on here. All right, dry that. And now I'm going to add some more of the stencil to this envelope that I have cut up to fit my journal. So here I'm just going to add the ink directly to the stencil like a normal stencil, just to be able to carry the green, some of the colors over a little bit from the page. Okay, then I've glued it together. Like I said, I cut it to fit. It's an old envelope, and I'm going to glue this part of it to the top. Sometimes I don't use brushes. It's just easier to use my hands. All right, that's going to go on the top here. Press that down. And I think, do I want to? Nah, I don't want those, so I'm just going to tear those off at the edge. There we go. And as I look at it, I think, yup, there could be more. So I really like that pink on the left side of the envelope. So I'm going to take this fluorescent pink. It's a golden high fluid acrylic. And what am I going to do with this? I'm going to take a paper towel and this little stencil, and I'm just going to take barely any paint on my paper towel and press it in here because this is some bright paint. It's really fun. So I'll dab it around here. And then that's okay. I'm going to add it a little bit more over here. Maybe, yeah, let's try and pick up the excess. Nope. That's okay. Sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. So I'm going to add a little bit more paint and dab it in there. And I don't mind that it's kind of messy. Let's see what happens. This is my favorite thing to say. Let's see what happens if I add paint to the stencil and then press it into the top up here. A little bit is coming out. So I'm going to add some more paint to my stencil. I'm doing this because I know I'm going to glue the envelope to the bottom of my page, and I want this fun hot pink to come through the page, not just be on one side. All right, so I'm looking, I think that's going to be okay. Now, I have glued this down, and I am going to continue this hot pink because of what was on the envelope. Now I'm going to add it up in somewhat the same shapes. And then I'll just add a little bit of that paint on there. Oops, no, I didn't glue it down yet. Okay, sorry. I'm going to edge the envelope in the pink. This is what happens when you do a voiceover. Okay, I'm going to edge this, add some pink. I don't want it on the top. Alrighty, now I'm going to glue it down. And yes, I took the same paintbrush that I've been using and stuck it in my Mod Podge. It's what I do. Going to put a pretty good coat on this just because the paint or the paper on this envelope is pretty thick. So I'm going to add that here. Press that down real good from the middle out. Rub, 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 make it stick. Oh, I'm liking this. This is going to be fun. So I'm thinking we need to add some blue to carry the blue onto the envelope. So I'll just put a little bit here. Yep. A little bit more for a continuation. Then I'm going to add the white paint again to my honeycomb stencil. And yes, I do wash these after I'm done as best as I can with some soap and water. Let's see, I'm going to add just little dabs of paint. That came out kind of thick, but that's okay because I'm going to take this paper towel, dab it up a little bit, and in so doing, I add a little teeny tiny bit of pink to that white because it was the old paper towel. And I'll pick up a little bit of that white paint. So now it's got a little pink in the white and a little white in the pink. And I'll add a little bit of the white over here. Oh yeah. All right. So I have a tag that I'm going to do the same distress ink on the way I did the page. Okay, I'm gonna add some picked raspberry just because of that fun pink in there, so you gotta have that come in, right? Add some more blue all over. Then I'm gonna put my stencil down, spray it. And let's see what we think when I lift it up. So I'm not real thrilled. I can see the honeycomb. And so I think I'm gonna go find a paintbrush, and I'm gonna come back with some thicker white acrylic, heavy body white acrylic paint, and I'm gonna go over this because I don't like the way it turned out. It's too flat and one-dimensional for me, so I'm just gonna go over it, cover it up, not a big deal. All right, I'm gonna dry that. And now I'm going to take this old dictionary page, and why I am standing in this direction on this video is beyond me. It's like I moved to the side for some reason. Okay, so I'm gonna take the dictionary page with the word worthy, and I'm going to glue it down here. I'm going to keep that little piece because it has, I just like numbers, and it has the page number on there. So I'm going to put this down. I'm going to add the little page number. And look, I even got a clean brush for this Mod Podge. Wow, I'm impressed. Okay. Smooth that out, wrap it around. There we go. Now I'm going to come back with my stencil, and I'm going to add some blue down here. Give it a little spray with the water. Pick it up. Yep, I like that. All right, we're going to do that on the top as well. Spray it. Lift it. Yeah, that's pretty. So here's the deal. I get so caught up making these pages that I don't realize I am off the stinking camera. Okay. So now I'm going to add this little cutout doll from Tim Holtz. She is a cutie. I'm putting Mod Podge on her here and trying to get the little cutout. There's a little punch out on her. So I got that out and glued her on. I'm going to wipe up some of that Mod Podge. Okay, so here I'm adding just a little bit more blue to darken up where she sits. Oh, and look, now I'm back where, can you see it? No, of course not. All right, I am going through a book by Scott Erickson called Say Yes, and I love to journal pages with lines from books that have a lot of meaning for me. So I'm going to write this out with this fun pen. I got this from Notebook Therapy. It has such a fine nib, and I really like it. It's pretty sturdy. It's just black ink. I'm just going to write out this sentence. I'll put it in the description what the sentence is. I'll put the link for the book, and I'll put all the links for the different product I've used. And of course, right here, I mess up a letter, but don't fret when you do this, because so that G looks like one complete circle. It doesn't look like a G. So what I'm going to do is pick up a tiny, tiny bit of white paint. That didn't work. So now I'm going to get a different brush. Okay, I'm going to add just the tiniest little spot of white paint to widen the circle in the G so it has a space in it, but leaving it like that would be silly, so I'm going to add little white dots. And now it looks like a G. So here we are. Oh, I love this little pocket girl. She's cutie cute. All right, thanks for joining me. Like and subscribe. You know the drill. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you try this yourself. If you do, leave me a comment, or if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Also here I'm putting the author in the book so I can remember. All right, friends, thanks for joining.